James will be reviewing that while he eats his vegetable soup. And I'm just going to leave him to it so I don't distract him and get him talking about politics again.
It's all politics. Religion is politics, in case you didn't realize it. The fundamentalist church I was raised in was fairly apolitical. Each congregation was supposed to be, well, at least one version was supposed to be independent of all the others. Kind of the opposite of Catholic Church. Well, let's see what we've got. Herman Hesse. I'll send you. So, as I pointed out, I don't have the thing that I wanted to review today. It's puede vivir siempre en la paraíso en la tierra, something like that. Just woke up from a nap, so hopefully I got it right. It's something like you can live forever in paradise on earth. And it's a publication of the Jehovah's Witness. When the book was put out, they were claiming they had 40 million exemplars or copies published by that point in time. When was this book published? Of course, they put out, I'm sure, more recent editions, but I think it was sometime in the 80s, so pretty impressive, the number of copies put out. And I'll be talking about that. So I've been, the last little while, on and off, I've been talking about how if you folks out there want to talk about religion, you, with me, you'd better do your homework. Because there's some of you out there that don't. And I'm tired of doing for those folks out there that want to talk about religion and haven't done their homework. I'm tired of doing your homework for you. So one of the lessons to be learned from doing all this reading. So Herman Hesse, he went to India. I think this was published something like 1980. But let's read maybe a bunch of stuff I put together. Dude was born in 1877. That's Herman Hesse, the guy who did Der Steppenwolf. I'm mispronouncing it, but it's the Steppenwolf, as we mispronounce it. So there was a largely Canadian group that had a huge hit called Born to be Wild. I think that was put out in the summer of 1968. Dates do go back that far. I was about 14 years old when that came out. And start in 1962. So that's when he died. He lived quite a long life. 85 approximately when he died. This book was, as I was saying, it was put out originally in 1911, a long time ago. So it would have been about 34 when it was published. Anyway, he wrote Steppenwolf. Damien was the first of his novels I read. Own translation. It's not a novel. There are a couple of short stories in here. They're written kind of as a reaction to his trip going to Southeast Asia and hitting points in between, including going through the Suez Canal and hitting Ceylon. I think those were the highlights of his trip. I think he hit Malaya for a while. Ended up in Indonesia for a while and came. Well, it wouldn't be roaring back. He was going by ocean liner. I think he left Genoa, however the Germans say Genoa is, I think, how we say that in English. It's one of the major ports in Italy. I'm not sure where it came from. he spent some time in Der Schweiz. Is it Der? Something like that. Anyway, Schweiz, Switzerland, as we misnomer it in English. And he encountered a lot of religions along the way, including Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism. Those would be the main ones. And he kind of has a Orientalist attitude towards things. Trying to see commonalities is very hard to see like the typical Orientalist stuff is, you hit Asia, it's all the same. It's not. That having been said, like, I kind of like to look at a particular religion. I don't like to look at it, but if I have to, people have to. It's the second biggest religion in the world. I take not an Orientalist view, I take a Occidentalist view of it. Once I look at stuff written by a guy called Lal, L-A-L, I think that's rare. The Indic languages. So that's kind of an Occidentalist view, and what shall we call it? Not an Australis view, but something like that. But a Borealist view of this particular religion. And then it enables me to kind of not necessarily counter whatever Orientalist view I might have of this particular one. I'm kind of triangulating. I'm even doing better with it. And I find that the Occidentalist view of this religion and the Borealist view of this religion is the same as what's been condemned as an Orientalist view of this religion. I'm talking about Islam. It's the same sort of story. When Islam went into India, as when it went into Spain, as when it went into Eastern Europe, as when it went into Africa. Not a good story. It's a brutalist kind of story. History, really. So you might think that's a narrative, stuff like that. Hopefully most of you aren't into that kind of schmuckiness, by calling everything a narrative. What we do with narratives when it comes to court is situations and stuff like that, we try to get as many witnesses as possible from different viewpoints and stuff like that, and then we try to come up with something that's maybe a little bit like the truth. So I don't believe that there's an ultimate reality that we're going to arrive at, but you better be striving for something like that, or else you would just end up stuck with guys like Donald Dump. And that is his family's real name, Dumpf. Dumpf is what I call it. So his family, I might have been his granddad, maybe even someone further back in the ancestry changed the name. Might have been his dad. So sometimes I call him Donald Dump, and I'm not the first to come up with that. I thought I was original with that, and I found out other people have been using that on the internet. A lot of people call him the Big Cheeto. Could call him the Big Cheater. Pun on that, I presume. Stuff like that. Anyway, yeah. So he seems to be, Hesse, seems to be most attracted to Buddhism of these major religions that he encounters on his trip. He says Aus Indian, but it's more like Indonesian or something like that. Because that's where he ended up going. I don't think he actually visited India though. Ceylon's as close as he got. Maybe he made a little bit of a stop shore on the coast or something like that. And I don't know. He keeps on talking about Schopenhauer, and Scoopure is maybe what that means in German. So, and Schopenhauer seems to have been a little taken. He's supposed to be a philosopher, taken with, as was Richard Wagner, with Buddhism. I'm not sure about Wagner. Schopenhauer seems to be. And so it seems to have gone from Schopenhauer to other Germans and stuff like that. This guy is saying, oh, Buddhism seems to be wonderful and all that sort of stuff. We've got, he's in the West, civilized West, from his point of view. So forth. That we've got all these ills, like psychic ills and stuff like that. But then again, he is noticing stuff. He's not really apprehending it. He'll point out that people, he noticed some people, they're peeing in kind of like the river, and then they're drinking water, the river, bathing in the river and stuff like that. It's things just don't work out when things. So it reminds me of a book that I'm almost through. I'm giving you a kind of like a little bit of a mini world tour of religions. So I'm working my way very slowly as it happens through a Kashmiri text with translations into English, translations in English and Sanskrit. So it's written in Kashmiri, although it wasn't really written down by the original author, maybe from 400 years ago. And this is from Kashmir, and it's basically Hindu text. And then this guy gives it's a bit of a survey of a variety of religions. Here, I've done a lot of work actually. So this is my second time through this. This is pantheism. So, and then with Hinduism, we've got pantheism of a different sort, and stuff like that. So this book I've gone through twice. I've gone through 40% of it the third time. This book, which is part of the same, you could call it series, but it's 50 volumes. And this particular one I've gone through once already and gone through it a second time, 40%. Have I started going through this Hesse thing a second time? I often do that, but not that one. But I'm almost through the Lao Tzu's, however you want to mispronounce it, Tao Te Ching, Tao Te Ching, whatever. And I'm almost finished. That's a slim volume, even with the translation and explanations. It claims to be a philosophical exposition, not just a translation of Lao Tzu's work. And so, you're getting a survey of a lot of religions. I've already got a lot of this stuff behind me, but I'm getting there. And you're going to have it visited. So in this one translation of Lao Tzu, however you want to mispronounce it, it's okay with me. There were two authors. One of them had died a long time ago, maybe 2002. But one of them, or both of them, said, not having Western civilization, and not having a long life expectancy, and if you don't have Western civilization, guess what? You don't have a long life expectancy on Western. I'm talking about, you might live to be 80 years, or 90, maybe even 100, but the chances are you're going to die at age 30, maybe. Not that good. And the way they put it was, that lends a delicious temporality to life. And I noticed that these two authors, one of them worked at the University of Hawaii, which I'm pretty sure it would be publicly funded. and the other one out of another publicly funded university, maybe in Texas, I can't remember. And I'm pretty sure they're pulling down pretty big coin from the public university. It's not as though they're out with their begging bowls and doing the Buddhist type of thing. Shameful. Absolutely shameful. They seem to be well dressed. You know, like I actually had a working class job. Well, many different working class jobs for 35 years. And, you know, like I paid the way for lots. Here in Canada, up until recently, pretty well any university was, the class of the university was publicly funded. And so I contributed for a long time. And my parents, before I reached the age of majority, they were funding universities here in Alberta going back to 1967. And
I brought some more soup to warm it up.
Oh, excellent. I'm sick and tired of seeing
And persimmon.
coming out of university that's anti-labor, anti-working class, anti-certain types of religions, you know, particularly Christian religions, but also Jewish religions. I'm sick and tired of it. You know, like this stuff should not be funded, publicly funded. Some of it should be heavily, I'm not saying censored, but censured. You get the difference? Definitely publicly funded. I was looking a while back at a university, and this is in Kinese. All sorts of stuff about the sociology of kinesiology or whatever. You know, like gender studies and kinesiology. This, that, and the other. Race studies and kinesiology. What are you going to do? Are you going to look at like the CFL here in Canada and how it's, you know, like it's blacks are over, or African Americans or African Canadians, whatever the term is, they're overrepresented. What are you looking at? You know, I have no problem because generally, you know, like you look at, you need speed in football. Who are the fastest folks out there? They come from, well, Jamaica, so on and so forth. They just got longer legs. You need longer legs to run faster. You got short legs, you're not going to run fast, at least 100 meters. You got short legs, you're really quick, like Lionel Messi. Stuff like that. To a certain extent, when it comes to athletics, you know, your physiology is destined. I'm sure lots of people think that's racist or something like that, but it's not. It has nothing to do with race. You get people with black skin color who are dark, very dark skin color. They're called pygmies. Imagine how well they do in basketball. Oh, yeah, it's just that way. You know, like someone from Guatemala not going to do that well in basketball unless they're really, really sharp like Spud Webb or something. It's just that way. There are some things you can do, you know, but it's really tough if you don't have long legs to run fast. It's tough to play defense in the NBA if you don't have long arms. Yeah. Don't like hearing that? Let's turn to another station, as it were. Doesn't change the reality. So,
how do you find this vegetable broth?
I like it. I like it a lot, especially the fact that it's vegetable. Because I will eat, meat-based broth. Sometimes you'll get ordered with some of the stuff. It's not as though we're out there, ordering it.
No, it's just I buy it on clearance.
The stuff's already dead, and so on and so forth. So it's not as though cows are getting killed specifically for us or anything like that. And I can eat it. I'm thinking about what's in it. And so
well, I won't eat it, but
I know.
It's fine. I'm fine with you eating it, whatever. But Yeah, I don't know. I think like with this, it says that one of these plus 3 waters equals 4 cups. This makes 4 cups of broth, and I don't really think it does. But
Well,
with this soup, it did, because this one has
Lots
like
of other stuff.
lots of like garlic and celery and flavorful stuff.
Yeah.
So
So it's for flavor, and if you got other
Yeah.
flavors,
it just
Yeah.
adds to it. But with like I found when I was making, say, cream of cauliflower soup or something, I couldn't add very much cream to it. And, you know, there's certainly not 3 parts cream to 1 part.
well, you know, like
broth
all
or
sorts,
whatever.
of businessmen are into advertisements. Now, a lot of people are saying Donald Trump, he's just advertising. No, he's lying for Putin. Okay, you know, he's calling Justin Trudeau the governor of Canada. Now, Trudeau should have, but he's too nice a person to do it, as are most Canadians. But I'm not too nice to do that. Donald Trump, he should have just called Donald Trump the commissar of the United States. Hey, commissar, hope you're watching. Donald Trump.